Quiet now, everybody. Quiet, listen to me. We're going to start a show. Now, some of you people have been with me before. You know it's going to be a tough grind. You're going to dance until your feet fall off. You're not able to stand up any longer. But we're going to have a show.
Welcome to today's episode of the Pink Door Podcast. Today we'll be discussing builder-supplied mortgage financing.
It's a topic that you just can't avoid right now. I mean, if you've been anywhere near a new subdivision or even just scrolling Zillow, you've seen the ads.
Oh, absolutely. It's almost like the universe is trying to confuse us. We all know interest rates have been in that painful territory.
All right.
Making payments just skyrocket. But then you drive past a construction site, dodging the trucks, and you see this banner that feels like a hallucination. It says, get a 2.99% interest rate.
Or move in with a 30-year fixed rate well below market.
Right. And seeing a number that starts with a 2 or a 3 in this economy, it feels like spotting a unicorn.
Yeah, it really does.
It's like a glitch in the system. And honestly, it makes my skeptical side flare up immediately. My grandmother always said, if it looks too good to be true,
You better read the fine print.
with a magnifying glass. So that's really our mission for this deep dive. We're trying to figure out, is this a real financial lifeline for people trying to buy a home, or is it a trap?
It's a huge question. And the answer is surprisingly nuanced. So to get to the bottom of it, we've pulled together a really good stack of research. We've got structural data from Luminate Bank on how these loans are built.
Okay.
A great breakdown of the pros and cons from Kiplinger, and then some really hard numbers from Bankrate on who actually qualifies for these things.
So we're going to look at the mechanics, the hidden costs, and the psychology behind why builders are even doing this. But let's start with the basics. When we say builder financing, what are we actually talking about? Is the guy pouring the concrete also loaning me the money?
No. Thankfully, you aren't writing a mortgage check to the site foreman, but it's close.
Yeah.
We're usually talking about a mortgage subsidiary.
Yeah.
So the big national builders, think Pulte, Toll Brothers, Lennar, they often have their own in-house mortgage companies. It's a one-stop shop. Or for smaller builders, they'll have a preferred lender, a specific bank they partner with to offer these deals.
And this isn't some niche tactic anymore, right? I was looking at that Bankrate data you sent over, and the numbers are they're staggering.
It's huge. Back in August 2023, Bankrate found that 55% of builders were providing some kind of incentive to, move product.
Over half the market.
Over half. When rates spiked, builders realized they couldn't just sell the house anymore. They had to start selling the payment.
That's a really key distinction, selling the payment, not the house.
Okay, so let's break down these incentives. What's on the menu when I walk into that sales office?
Well, the headline grabber is the rate buy down. That's the bait on the hook. And generally, you're looking at two flavors here. First, there's the temporary buy down, the classic 2-1.
Okay, walk us through the 2-1.
So let's just say market rates are 7%. With a 2-1 buy down, for that first year, your rate is 2% lower.
So 5%.
Yeah.
Exactly, 5%. In year 2, it steps up to 6%. And then in year 3, you're back to that full 7% for the remaining 28 years of the loan.
Got it. So it's like a teaser rate. It kind of eases you into the mortgage shock.
It does. It's the, boiling the frog method of homeownership.
Yeah.
You get used to it slowly. But the other kind is the permanent buy down. That's where the builder pays upfront points to lower your rate for the entire life of the loan.
And that's how they get those fixed rates below market ads.
That's the one. And then, of course, you've got the non-mortgage stuff. I see ads for, we'll pay your closing costs or free luxury kitchen.
Right.
And those closing cost credits covering title insurance and fees, those are huge because they preserve your cash. And then, yes, the physical upgrades, granite counters, better flooring, landscaping, it's all part of the same toolkit.
But this is where I get stuck. And I think this is the question every listener has. My local credit union isn't offering me a free refrigerator. They're definitely not offering me a rate 2% below the market. So how does a builder do this? Are they just eating a massive loss?
They aren't eating it, they're engineering it. And this brings us to a concept from the Luminate Bank research called the forward commitment.
Forward commitment. Sounds technical.
Think of it like Costco. It's just bulk buying. If you go to the store to buy one bottle of water, you pay $2. If you buy a whole pallet of water, you pay 50 cents a bottle.
So builders are doing that with money.
Essentially, yes. They go to the capital markets and purchase a commitment for, say, $10 million in loans at a very specific interest rate. Because they're buying in bulk and committing way in advance, they get a discount.
Ah, so they bought the money wholesale, and now they're retailing it to me at a discount.
Precisely. And that lets them offer you a rate that no local bank can touch, because that bank is buying money on today's spot market at retail price. The builder's shopping from their stockpile.
Okay, so that explains the how, but now I want to ask the why. And this is where the skeptical listener needs to lean in. Because if a builder has, say, $30,000 of this buy-down money to give me, why not just lower the price of the house by $30,000?
That is the million-dollar question. And logic says, just give me the discount off the top. But real estate psychology is a whole different ballgame. Builders are absolutely terrified of lowering the sticker price.
Because of the comps, right? The comparable sales.
It's all about the comps. Imagine you bought a house in phase 1 of a development for $500,000.
Okay.
2 months later, the builder sells the exact same house next door for $470,000 because the market slowed down.
I am furious. I just lost 30 grand in equity overnight.
You're furious. And worse for the builder, the appraiser for the third house comes along, sees that 470 sale and says, well, the market value is now 470. It creates a downward spiral for the entire neighborhood.
So the rate buy down is kind of a sleight of hand.
It's financial engineering to protect that headline price. By keeping the house price at $500,000 but spending $30K on a rate buy down behind the scenes, the official sales record stays high. The neighbors are happy, the appraisers are happy, and you get a payment you can afford.
It sounds like a win-win. But win-win usually means there's no loser. Who loses here?
The buyer can lose. And this is where we get to the dangerous part of this deep dive. Luminate calls this the hidden trade-off.
Is this where we talk about overpaying for the house?
We have to. Because if the builder is artificially propping up that price to protect the neighborhood's value, you are the one paying that artificially high price.
You're paying a premium to get the low rate.
Exactly. The data shows it clearly. Between 2019 and 2024, homes from these large national builders appreciated in price much faster than homes from smaller builders. That premium isn't just better lumber. It's the cost of these financing deals baked right into the sticker price.
So wait, I'm basically financing the discount. I'm paying interest on the money they use to lower my interest rate.
In a roundabout way, yes. You aren't getting a deal. You're financing the deal. And this leads to the nightmare scenario we have to talk about. Negative equity. Being underwater.
Can you walk us through the math on that? Because negative equity is a term people hear, but let's make it real.
Okay, so back to our $500,000 house. You buy it because that 4.5% rate makes the payment look like a dream. But let's say the actual market value of that home, without the financing attached, is only $475,000.
Okay, so I paid a $25,000 premium to get the rate.
Correct. You move in. 6 months later, life happens, job transfer, whatever, you need to sell. You put it on the market. But here's the kicker. You can't offer the next buyer that special 4.5% rate. That's a one-time deal.
So the next buyer has to get a regular loan at, say, 7%.
Correct. Which means their buying power is lower. They can only afford $475,000, which is the true market value.
Oh, the offers come in at $475, but my loan is for $500. I'm underwater.
You are. You literally cannot sell that house without writing a personal check for $25,000 plus closing costs at the table.
That's terrifying. And the Luminate article mentioned FHA buyers are especially at risk here. Why them?
It's leverage. FHA loans often require only 3.5% down. That is a razor-thin slice of equity. If you put 3.5% down, but you overpaid for the house by 5% because of the incentives,
you're underwater the day you get the keys.
Before you've even unpacked, you have zero margin for error. If the market just stays flat, you're stuck. You can't refinance, you can't sell without bringing cash.
Wow. It really highlights that you're not just buying a place to live, you're managing a major asset. But let me play devil's advocate for a second.
Go for it.
I know there are listeners thinking, okay, but cash flow is king. If I'm planning to stay in the house for 15 years, does the resale value next year really matter that much?
That is a very fair point. And, it's not all doom and gloom. Kiplinger and Bankrate both highlight that if you're a long-term buyer, these incentives can be a huge benefit.
Let's talk about the cash preservation angle.
For a first-time buyer, liquidity is safety. If a builder pays $10,000 of your closing costs, that's $10,000 that stays in your emergency fund. That's your furnace broke fund.
Right. Being house poor is just a miserable way to live. If these incentives keep you from draining your savings, that feels like a win.
Absolutely. And there's the streamlined process factor. Builders want these homes off their books fast. Their lenders are motivated, the communication is usually better, delays are fewer, It's a well-oiled machine.
And the upgrades, too. I mean, financing granite countertops into a 30-year loan at a low rate versus putting them on a credit card at 20%. That's just smarter math.
It is, as long as you actually wanted the granite.
Yeah.
But, and there's always a but, we have to talk about the fine print. Because Bankrate pointed out that those billboards for 2.99%, they have an asterisk the size of a planet.
So the Start Here banner is a little deceptive.
Extremely. Bankrate used a Pulte offer as an example. It advertised this fantastic rate. When you look at the requirements, a 780 credit score.
780. That's elite territory. That is not your average first-time buyer.
It's excellent credit.
Click.
And it gets worse. It required a 20% down payment. On a $500,000 home, that's $100,000 in cash.
Whoa. The national median down payment is what, like $24,000? So they're asking for 4 times the average to get the deal.
Exactly. So a lot of buyers walk in, they get emotional about the house, and then they find out they don't qualify for the unicorn rate. But by then, they've mentally moved in. So the sales team just pivots them to a standard loan at the same high price.
It's the classic bait and switch.
It can feel like it. And even if you do qualify, you run into what I call the golden handcuffs.
Ooh, I like that. What are the golden handcuffs?
It's the exclusivity clause. To get any of it, the buy down, the credits, the fridge, you must use the builder's preferred lender.
Of course. They're not just going to hand you cash to go use your own bank.
Nope. If you say, actually, I love my credit union, the builder says, fine, but the price is the same and all those incentives, gone.
So you're basically penalized for shopping around.
You're handcuffed to their lender. And Kiplinger warns that because you're a captive audience, you have to watch out to the fees. Sometimes the junk fees processing admin costs might be a little higher than average.
Because they know the low rate is dazzling you so much, you won't notice the $500 admin fee.
You got it. You're stepping over dollars to pick up pennies if you aren't careful.
Okay, so this is complicated. It's not a scam, but it's sophisticated marketing that carries real risk. So let's get practical. If I'm a listener, standing in that model home, smelling the fresh paint, what do? How do I evaluate this deal?
You need a battle plan. I've broken it down into a smart buyer checklist. 5 steps.
All right, let's hear it. Step 1.
Step 1 is mandatory, even if it feels useless. Shop around. Get a loan estimate from an independent lender.
But you just said the incentives disappear if I do that. Why bother?
You need a control group. You need to see the truth. You need to see what the real market looks like. You can't negotiate if you don't have a second quote to compare against.
Knowledge is leverage. Keep them honest. What's step 2?
Compare APR, not just the interest rate. This trips people up constantly.
Give us the quick and dirty on APR versus interest rate.
The interest rate is the rent you pay on the money. The APR, the annual percentage rate, is that rent plus all the fees and points and upfront costs to get the loan.
So the APR is the true price tag.
It is. If a builder offers a 4% rate, but the APR is 6%, that's a huge gap. That tells you there are a ton of fees baked in. Always compare the APR.
That's a great tip. Look for the gap. Step 3.
Check the comps yourself. Don't trust the sales sheet. Get on Zillow. Get on Redfin. Look at the resale market.
So if the new build is $500K and a house built 3 years ago across the street is selling for $450,
then you know you are paying a $50,000 premium for that new car smell and the financing deal. You have to ask yourself, is a lower rate worth giving up $50,000 in equity on day one?
That's the sober second thought. Okay, step 4.
An independent appraisal. You have the right to request your own appraisal. You want a neutral third party to tell you what that pile of wood is actually worth, separate from the financing.
And finally, step 5.
Run the long-term math. Luminate had this fantastic quote, "A lower payment feels great today. Strong equity feels better tomorrow."
That should be on a bumper sticker.
It really should.
Yeah.
You have to ask, what happens in year 3 when the buy-down ends? Can you afford that higher payment? And if you have to sell, can you cover the potential negative equity?
So it really comes down to looking past the flashy marketing. The builder isn't your friend, they're selling a product. And the financing is a product.
Exactly. It's a tool. If you're staying for 15 years, it might be a brilliant tool that saves you thousands. But if you're a short-term buyer or you're stretching your budget to the absolute limit, these deals can be a trapdoor.
So to summarize, builder incentives are a marketing tool to move inventory without lowering prices. They can help you, but they are not free money.
There's no such thing as a free lunch, and definitely no such thing as a free mortgage. You are trading a higher purchase price for a lower monthly payment. Just make sure that trade is worth it for you.
And the final takeaway for the listener.
Always look at the total cost of the home, not just the first year's monthly payment. Don't let the monthly payments seduce you into a bad investment.
Wise words. Hopefully, this helps you navigate those model homes with a little more confidence and a healthy dose of skepticism.
Absolutely. Ask the hard questions and don't get blinded by the free fridge.
If you have any questions about this episode, or if you are thinking about buying or selling a house anywhere on Boston's South Shore from Southie to Sagamore, give Jim Aldred a call. He would love to speak with you. Jim believes that people in transition often feel anxious about buying or selling a home, and he provides them with the guidance and security to help your family move on smoothly. Thanks for listening, and catch you on the next episode of the Pink Door Podcast.